this is what we saw, right? Spain won the World Cup and they were receiving their medals. And we saw an exuberant man who is the head of, let's call them SFF, I don't know, Spanish Federation of Football. You know, he's the president. So he's the leader. So I'm trying to picture who's the FF, who's the Federation president for England. I'm trying to, or like, I think maybe Prince William. I'm not sure. Or Nigeria. We have the context of who that person is. He's the most important person in football in that country.
Correct.
So he's on the stage, and admittedly, we all saw the clips, or if you didn't see the clips, there are clips of him hugging every single girl, planting kisses on their, either on the side of their face or on the side of their head. That's inappropriate, over exuberant behavior. I think it was inappropriate all around. I can see if you're happy.
He
And
grabbed
I
his
was
crotch,
trying to
right?
think, maybe,
Look at that. He grabbed his crotch. Then
yes,
I
he
was
did
going to
it
say,
too.
he was grabbing
I
his
think,
crotch on the stands, in the
yeah,
stands. Yeah.
I think he was drunk. That's my personal opinion. I think, and it's very likely, right? When you're excited, you're drinking probably, you're watching the football game, you're probably drinking. And that's the only explanation for me for something like that in a setting where you're supposed to be, I would say, number one. We agree that he's the number one sports person in the country because he's the president of that organization, men and women, everything about football. He's the president. He's been the president since 2018. I looked him up. He's very young, which is, I guess that's good. He's only 44, so that's a young guy. And so it's not on, I mean, even if it was older, it's not inconceivable that he would be, I think he may be single. Like, it's just just the optics looks horrible. Like, you're kissing all these girls, every single girl, hugging. It's like, how happy are you? We get it. Relax. And then this one girl comes, it's her turn, and he's like, he hugged her once, so that's not enough. I have to kiss her. Yeah, that's not enough. Now he kissed her on her lips. I'm like, what are you doing? Like, no. And then, okay, I think the problem was the response, right? There was a social media response. If you look at the girls that were hugging him initially, they all look like, okay, well, we may not really interact with this guy. I promise you, they probably don't interact with that man that well.
Absolutely.
Mhm.
Just imagine, like, what are they doing with him? No, they know their coaches. They probably have no true interaction with him, at least not routinely. And they're like, okay, this is our boss's boss. Yeah, we get that. He's happy for us. But it was just too much. So the social media backlash happened. And what happened after that? After the social media backlash happened, that's when Hermoso comes out and says, I did not enjoy that. When I read her comment, I was like, what do you mean you didn't enjoy that? You're not even supposed, like, and I know it's probably a translation thing. You're not supposed to enjoy that.
Yeah.
Why did he kiss you? What's there to enjoy? Like, he shouldn't have touched you. And of course, you didn't give consent in that moment, in the split second moment. Oh, you can kiss me now? No, you didn't give a consent. No, shake my hand and give me the medal. Go away. You can hug me. That's fine. I think maybe the kids. That's why I said culturally, I have to be careful. I don't know if in Spain they kiss a lot. I have no idea.
On the cheek,
You
yeah.
know, the
Yeah,
cheek, yeah.
on the cheeks, yeah, on
Why
the
are you
cheeks, yeah.
touching?
Men and women will do that on the
Yeah.
cheeks, yeah.
Why are you kissing my mouth? So no. So, and I think after that, the first thing he should have done. I always say these men need to apologize. I know he apologized, but then he started getting indignant and irate.
Correct.
He has to apologize and sit in that apology until it's over.
Yeah.
Now he's acting entitled. He's acting like, oh, wait, I shouldn't resign. What? And of course, all the men were clapping for. I saw that. I was like, damn, this guy has the support of journalists. And those were the people in the room, right? So
Not just journalists,
journalists
even
who are supposed to
officials,
be
the coaches
okay.
were there, other coaches,
Okay.
not just even officials of the FA were
Okay.
there, not just journalists, yeah.
Where's the hope? Like, they're all
Yeah.
supporting him. Of course, the good old boys club probably, but like, you're all supporting him in that moment. So basically, it's because, let me tell you why they're supporting. Because they see themselves like, wait, if I ever do something like this is going to be me. Because they see that they could potentially do that. They don't see anything wrong with that. They have to wipe that kind of behavior out. It doesn't have to happen. Like, it's just not. Many people have won the World Cup. This has never happened. So I'm not sure why we had to see all that.
I just want to quickly comment. I think this is it. It comes from the top also, FIFA, because we've seen. I'm not discrediting or even trying to minimize what he has done, But even generally, I've always, you see, when Messi was lifting the World Cup, they came and just wore this. I know it's a thing of royal prestige in the
Right.
Arab world, but they didn't even ask him. They just wore it on him and said, "Come and wear this and lift the cup." I've always had issues where the officials, when they're presenting these things, they grab their attention away from the players who have just won the competition. Like they want to be there. There's some officials, when they're handing over the trophy, they want to be in the picture when they're handing it over because they want to be there in the picture for posterity. I've always had an issue with that. And this guy, that's what he was doing. He was just being so exuberant, and so he was just being over the top. And what's annoying me is this World Cup was a big step forward for female football, for women's football. It was a big step forward. Like, I mean, I was watching the competition. I could see the big leap in the standard for goalkeeping, especially because initially the previous female World Cup, the women World Cups, you could see the goalkeeping was not really very high standard, so they could just take a shot from 30 yards to fly into the net because women's football has been limited professionally. So, but you could see the standard has been elevated. And this kind of scandal is just deflecting attention away from all of that now. And that's so annoying that in their moment of glory is this guy who is now has taken away the shine from their moment of glory. This scandal has enveloped everything.
I guess Eejay has probably hit all the notes and all that. So the only thing I'm going to say is I feel like the last 1 week, 2 weeks has taught me a lot about the level of misogyny, right, that exists in football.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Just the Greenwood one, and now I understand more, especially in football. I mean, we know sports is a reflection of the wider society.
Exactly.
It's more clearer to me, like, wow, there's a lot of misogyny in sports and football. Just different things I've seen. I always like to, reiterate, this is my personal opinion. Just my personal opinion. It's like, wow, this level of misogyny. So I refrain to argue a lot about this. Right, last week's one. I mean, this one is serious. Last week was the most serious issue. I most argument because a lot of people were trying to draw me out, but I stopped because I got tired of it. I believe there should be more time should be spent doing the work, regarding social issues and social justice than arguing about it. That's why I got tired of arguing about it. But yeah, it's crazy, and it almost feels like a soap opera. Now going back to this, it's like each day there's a different thing.
Each day, exactly.
The doubling down, like you said, he apologized, and he literally the next statement he doubled down. And I was like, oh, wow, people angry. And he was indignant. And like, oh, what's the big issue there? I was like, wow, this is crazy.
Before the game kicked off, Newcastle it wasn't a situation where it was always guaranteed that we're going to win. Even when Newcastle was in the ascendancy, Newcastle always finds a way to lose to Liverpool. Liverpool is a bogey team. Arsenal is a bogey team. Manchester City is a bogey team. At the beginning of the season, they put 2 of the 3 on our list. Don't worry, we'll make it up with Manchester United, right? But the important thing to note is we lost this game last season. We lost against Manchester City in Manchester City last season. Nothing has regressed for Newcastle. It's just the ordering of the games, all right?
Come on, man.
Let's talk about the game. Let's talk about the game. Raji, what happened? Tell me, give you an answer on the game. Let's talk about it.
To be honest with you, I don't know what happened. I think that
Liverpool happened.
I will say that Eddie Howe has a lot of blame for this game. I'm going to post this into the comments so that you guys can post this to the page when you get a chance. Because Oga Ola is trying to bamboozle everyone. But I'm going to say this: Newcastle had a very tough start, but the coach has this philosophy where he doesn't want to make changes when it's necessary. We have Lewis, we have Livramento. Livramento doesn't have to come in for Trippier. Trippier played well. We have situations where Bruno has just handed players in the last 2 games. Bruno has not played well. In fact, the last 3 games, and then we've seen situations where Bruno is now lashing out at the fans, and the fans are pushing back because of what the hell. But I do want to say that this game specifically, when they brought in Nunes, it was clear what Liverpool was going to do. They were going to lob the ball, avoid the whole midfield, and try to beat Newcastle in the back. And I turned to my wife, who was there, who is always disturbing me about Newcastle. And I told her this is exactly what they were going to do. They did that. The coach never made any adjustment. The two goals were somewhat simultaneously the same. Nunes gets the ball because of a defensive mistake, because they are putting pressure on them. Once he gets the ball, he shoots the ball. It's a goal. Both goals, the same kind of goal, right? And it's on, what's his name? It's on Eddie Howe. This loss was definitely on Eddie Howe. But a lot of people are coming out and say that Newcastle is nonsense. Newcastle is this. Oil money is blah blah. Oh, that's all nonsense. It's fine. You guys can say it. Enjoy it this week. But the truth about it is, we'll see where it all plays out. Newcastle lost this game last season. Newcastle lost the Manchester City game last season, and we still finished above Liverpool.
Tactically, what I think. So Newcastle played this high octane, win the ball back, counter quick, right? And a lot of the work, he does this high press thing, right? Like strict high press, not even counter press. Newcastle do high press. So a lot of the work is done by the forwards, right? So by the time he gets 60, 70, he has to change them because he's looking at long season, because if you do that, you run people in the ground, muscle injuries. So I think, in my opinion, I'm just thinking of tactically, I think that's what he's going for. That's why he keeps bringing out, Isaac also comes in for Wilson, Gordon comes in for Harvey Barnes. That's what I think anyway. That's why he makes those changes.
I'm gonna counter this, and it's the job of the coach to determine when they should do this kind of game.
You think that was a red card? Let's start on that. Was that a red card?
At the time, I thought maybe it was justified, but then I saw some people have been posting this new rule update where it says if they said there's an update to the denying of goal scoring opportunity rule.
Yep.
Now, I have to verify it, but I'll read it out where it says denying of goal scoring opportunity this season, only intentional fouls in the box on a player through on goal will be punished with a red card. If it is deemed a genuine attempt to play the ball, then the punishment will only be a yellow card. Now, that's what they're saying that they brought in this season. It can be argued that Van Dijk was trying to win the ball, but I obviously kicked the player first, but then he got the ball. In that sense, will we say, okay, as genuine attempt to win the ball, they should have given him a yellow card? In full speed, it looks like really, really bad because it's like he just swipes through the player and gets the ball. But then, is that player actually going in through on goal? The way that ball was going, maybe it was going a bit to the left of the box. So, in answer to your question, on first view, I would have said, okay, I'm okay with the red card. But then when I started seeing these screenshots popping up after the game, I was like, okay, he did try to make a genuine attempt at the ball. The good thing is it's not going to be a 3-match ban; it's a 1-match ban because that's the rule. So at least we won't miss it for 3 games. So I don't think we will appeal this one. The McAllister one, we have to appeal that one because that one was just clearly nonsense. It couldn't be a red card. This one, I don't think we will appeal it. I think we'll just leave it and say, okay, let him miss the 1 match. He can rest and come back after the international break.
Okay, I guess to wrap up the game, Nunes, why is he not starting Nunes? I'm curious about that.
Yeah, I think Agakwame was saying we're going to ask whether personally would I prefer Nunes ahead of Gakpo. Now, coming into this season, the preseason, Nunes was on fire. Like, all of us were like, man, this guy's looking ready to go. He was banging in goals in preseason. Okay, we know it's preseason. Preseason, you cannot really judge too much. But it felt like he had a point to prove, and it felt maybe he deserved, he should have started at least one of those 2 games we played previously. I think Klopp doesn't trust him to do the pressing well. I think maybe he's a bit helter-skelter with his pressing. He's full of energy. He will chase the ball, but pressing is also structured. It's not just running everywhere and trying to win the ball. So I think maybe Klopp doesn't trust him to do that bit. So that's why he has been on the bench. In answer to your question, I feel he should be starting. I think he's still maybe our best finisher. Even Salah. The thing with Nunes is, somebody was saying it today, Nunes is a pure finisher. I know Daniel was saying in the group chat that he's a pure finisher. The 2 goals he scored today, when he got into those goal scoring positions, he pulled the trigger. Bam. No thinking, am I going to square this? He pulled the trigger. 2 goals. Bam.